barrier at Perth Airport, returning from a wonderful trip to Sri Lanka via Singapore. The queues were moving slowly. They were obviously doing a thorough check. A customs officer emerged from a side door in the lobby, leading a small sniffer dog trained to detect drugs. The incoming travellers smiled nervously as the customs officer led the sniffer dog up and down each line. Even though they were not carrying any drugs, you could detect a release of tension after the dog sniffed them and moved away to someone else. When the cute little dog reached me and sniffed, it stopped. It buried its little muzzle in my robe at the waist and wagged its tail in rapid, wide arcs. The customs officer had to yank at the leash to pull the dog away. The passenger in line ahead of me, who had been quite friendly before, had now moved a step further away from me, and I was sure that the couple behind had moved a step backwards. After 5 minutes, I was much closer to the counter when they brought the sniffer dog around again. Up and down the lines the dog went, giving each traveller a little sniff and then moving on. When it came to me, it stopped again. Its head went in my robe and its tail went crazy. Again, the customs officer had to forcefully pull the dog away. I felt all eyes on me now. Even though many people might become a little worried at this point, I was completely relaxed. If I went to jail, well, I had many friends there, and they feed you much better than they do in a monastery. When I reached the customs check, they gave me a thorough search. I had no drugs. Monks don't even take alcohol. They didn't strip search me. I think this was because I showed no fear. All they did was ask me why I thought the sniffer dog had stopped only at me. I said that monks have great compassion for animals, and maybe that was what the dog sniffed. Or maybe the dog was a monk in one of its past lives. They let me go through after that. I came very close to getting punched once by a big Australian who was angry and half drunk. Lack of fear saved the day, as well as my nose. We had just moved into our new city temple, a little to the north of Perth. We were having a grand opening ceremony, and to our surprise and delight, the then Governor of Western Australia, Sir Gordon Reid, and his wife, had accepted our invitation to attend. I was given the job of organising the marquee for the courtyard and the chairs for the visitors and VIPs. I was told by our treasurer to get the very best. We wanted to put on a very good show. After a little searching, I found a very expensive hire company. It was located in one of the rich western suburbs of Perth and hired out marquees for the garden parties of the millionaires. I explained what I wanted and why it had to be the best. The woman with whom I dealt said she understood, so the order was placed. When the marquee and chairs arrived late on the Friday afternoon, I was around the back of our new temple helping someone else. When I came to check the delivery, the truck and the men had already gone. I couldn't believe the state of the marquee. It was covered with red dust. I was disappointed, but the problem could be fixed. We began to hose the marquee down. Then I checked the visitors' chairs, and they were just as filthy. Rags were brought out, and my priceless volunteers began to clean each chair. Lastly, I looked at the special chairs for the VIPs. They were special. Not one had legs the same length. They all wobbled a lot. This was unbelievable. This was too much. I rushed to the phone, called the hire company, and caught the woman just as she was about to leave for the weekend. I explained the situation, emphasising that we can't have the Governor of Western Australia rocking on a wobbly chair during the ceremony. What if he falls off? She understood, apologised, and assured me that she would have the chairs changed within the hour. This time I waited for the delivery truck. I saw it turning into our road. Halfway up the road, some 60 metres from the temple, with the truck still travelling quite fast, one of the men jumped out and came running toward me with wild eyes and a clenched fist. "Where's the bloke in charge?" he yelled. "I want to see the bloke in charge." I was to find out later that our first delivery was their last for the week. After us, the men had tidied up and retired to the pub to begin the weekend. They must have been well into their weekend drinking when the manager went into the pub and ordered them all back to work. The Buddhists needed their chairs changed. I went up to the man and said gently, "I'm the bloke in charge. How can I help?" He moved his face closer to mine, with his right fist still clenched, almost touching my nose. His eyes were burning with anger. I smelt the strong odour of beer from his mouth only a few inches away. I felt neither fear nor arrogance. I just relaxed. My so-called friends stopped cleaning the chairs to watch. Not one of them came to help me. Thanks a lot, friends. The face-off lasted a couple of minutes. I was fascinated by what was happening. That angry worker was frozen by my response. His conditioning was only used to seeing fear or counter-aggression. His brain did not know how to respond to someone relaxed when one of his fists was next to their nostrils. I knew he could not punch me, nor move away. Fearlessness bewildered him. In those few minutes the truck had parked and the boss came towards us. He put his hand on the frozen worker's shoulder and said, "Come on, let's unload the chairs." That broke the impasse, giving him a way out. I said, "Yes, I'll give you a hand," and we unloaded the chairs together.